And we are live. Well, I got everything all ready to go, set up to make some oatmeal, goat's milk, oatmeal, and honey soap. And I think they got that mixed up, but that's okay. All three of those are in there. Today's recipe is as follows. We're using coconut oil, olive oil, palm oil, and I'm super fatting with this right here. This is the organic shea butter, and I'll explain super fatting a little bit later. But right here is the goat's milk, the vitamin E, and the honey. It's a cup of goat's milk and a half a cup of honey with a fourth of a teaspoon of vitamin E. Oh yeah, and 2 tablespoons of glycerin. Right here, I have my water, 48 ounces of water for my lye. When you're empty out a lye container, throw it away. Don't reuse it because lye is caustic, it'll burn you, and you don't want to accidentally put something in here and reuse it. So put that in the trash before you put something in it that you shouldn't. Here is my, how much lye did I say it was? 19.5 ounces of lye. Now, this is a disposable cup. Now you can keep these, but you never want to put anything else in it but lye. And as you can see right here, my lovely pitcher is about full of water. That's the water for my lye water. And I had my wife write lye only because you never want to make Kool-Aid in this pitcher. Again, of course, I bought this pitcher and was for the only purpose of making homemade soap in it. Now, right here, I'm going to move this down, is our pot of, oh, you can't see it still. Well, right here is our pot of oil. And as my videos get better, you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little better. I don't know if I can bring that down enough to show what I'm doing here. Sorry about all the bouncing around. But now my head's cut off of it. Well, anyway, here's my oil. Now the method I'm going to be using today is, it's called stick blender hot process. This process does not take as long as the slow process of the stock pot, the crock pot hot process. That process can take about 3 hours plus, and a lot of people don't do it because it is so time consuming to do hot process. But this stick blend hot process is the way to go. It's the only way that I've found that you can produce enough soap in a reasonable amount of time to sell. Because unless you have 13 crock pots lining the counter and making 13 batches at a time, and it takes about a day to do it, you can't make enough soap to do a hot process. So anyway, my oil right now is at 167 degrees. Now I'm going to mix my lye. I'm going to move this back over here for a minute. Now, one thing about lye, you always put the lye in the water. As I heard one soaper say, the snow always falls on the lake. That holds true. You do not want to put the water into the lye. So here we're going to put our lye very slowly. And like I said, this little, I'm making an 8-pound batch is what I'm making. And so my water pitcher here really isn't big enough for the size of batch. But anyway, what I'm doing, I'm stirring it up. Now, with this stick blender hot process method, you do not have to worry about your lye cooling off. In fact, you don't want it to cool off, because the whole purpose of stick blender hot process is for the soap to cook itself without the additional heat from a crock pot slow cooking it. So here we go. Make sure my water, my lye is dissolved, and I've got water over here. Anytime you're done with anything like this pitcher that had lye in it, or the lye, you want to put it in the water. I could have put some vinegar in there, because vinegar will neutralize the lye. So here we go. We are going to get our stick blender. We're going to put this to the side for the moment. And we are going to make soap. I wish you could see this. This is quite an experiment. So we've got to the what they call saponification or saponify stage, and I wish I had a clear bucket, but basically, I don't know if you can see that. The reason I use this big one is, but if you can see that, there we go, maybe. If you can see that down there, it's just the oils, the water, the lye have come together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get it to a thin trace. A thin trace basically is when the soap, when you do this, and you can see where you've been, you can see the it's still pretty liquidy. I'm gonna take the boat motor out, stick blender, whatever you want to call it. Put the lid on it, and I let it get really too cool. Let me see my thermometer, see what we're reading. We're reading at 162 degrees. And so, if I have to, I'll put it back on the stove, but we'll just sit and wait and see what happens here. It was actually the water, the oils were a little cooler when I put the water in here. It was about at 160 degrees. Ideally, I would have wanted it a little higher than that, but we'll see what happens. What's supposed to happen, and what has happened when I've made it in the past, is it'll volcano. What that means is it's cooking itself. There's so much heat, the lye is cooking itself, therefore it's not taking 3 hours to cook. So any minute now, I may have to put it back on the stove and get it warmed up a little bit. I wish one of these days I'll have some help. Either Samuel will help me or my wife will help me, but she's indisposed at the moment. She's busy, so I get to do this by myself, which is fine. I like making soap. Haven't made it in a while, but I like making it. Well, let's stir it some more and see what I've learned to be very cautious when making soap, because many a times I would come home, make a bunch of soap, go back on the road, and the wife wouldn't be too happy when I left. She'd be all, the whole kitchen's greasy. I gotta clean it up and you're going on the road. So I try to be careful. But you learn through mistakes, because I've made plenty of mistakes making soap. We all do. So let's see here. Come on, it's volcano, you know, any minute. I may have to put it back on the stove. This is where I learned this technique from, and I have done this technique. It's not like this is my first time. The lady that I watched do it lives in Colorado, and hers had to be about 200 degrees because of the high altitude around Denver. And so I may have to warm this up. Let me put it back on the stove here. Get the heat going. One thing about it, I want to keep stirring it so it don't burn on the bottom. I just want to get it going again, get it warmed up, because and by the way, I don't know if you can see, maybe barely, this right here, what I have, I'll just bring it over there. This is my 25 pounds of coconut oil for making soap. And I got, that'll make a lot of soap. Oh, here we go. It's, I think, warmed up now. Let's see what we're at. Here's the thermometer. Well, we're at 170. Let's give her some blending. See what we got. All right, let's put it back on the stove for a little bit. Now I could do this in the microwave if it was not such a big container, but I'm just not fond of microwaves. I mean, we have enough radiation in this world to not use a stinking microwave all the time. Kill what very little nutrients in our food from the radiation from where they came from. But anyway. Here is the palm oil. This is a 50-pound container of palm oil. Alright, let's It's alright. Let's get that like that. Put the lid back on it. See, that's the whole thing about this hot process. You gotta keep the heat in. I wish I had a clear bucket. I'll just leave the stove on. I may have to put it back on there. But you can, the volcanoing action of the soap, it never gets old. You gotta do it quick, because that's why I got such a big container. Explosions of proportions can happen. And I've seen it happen on YouTube. I've never done it myself, but I have seen it happen. I hope it never happens to me, because when it volcanoes, you got soap everywhere. Come on. Get this puppy going. See, right now, this is good enough to mold. It's real thick. It's what they call, this is if I stopped right here and didn't continue, and I just put my other ingredients in it and put it in the mold, that's what they call cold process. That's what they call cold process, and cold process takes longer to cure. Come on. Get this. Alright, let's see if this sucker will volcano now. And plus, you know, this is a pretty big batch. You know, to get that temperature up there. This one may not volcano. But because it don't volcano don't mean nothing. It means it didn't, you know, cook till the lye was cooked out of it. I plan on, after my youngest one gets home from school, I plan on cooking some soap when he gets back. And I'll be more cautious when it comes to my temperatures. Because when there's a few stages that the soap goes through when you're doing this when you're cooking this hot process like this. Well, actually any hot process, you go through a few stages before it's cooked. Yeah. I'll be posting some videos on YouTube as well. The only reason why I'm kind of doing it here right now is so people know I'm making soap and knowing I'm showing how to make soap. And then once they learn I'm doing it, then they'll go to my channel. It's Mountain Man Naturals YouTube channel and Mountain Man Naturals here on Facebook. Alright, I don't think this is gonna, of course I know what I could do. I could split it up into two different bowls and put it in the microwave. Get it warmed up. questions on how want to make soap, you can email me, or you can go to Messenger and send me a message in Messenger. You can email me at mountainmannaturals@outlook.com. And if you have any questions, you can ask me that way. See how it's built up on there? I think we might be getting ready to volcano here, I hope. So let's see if it's going to do its thing. Put the lid on it. See if it's going to rock. Right now we're just in kind of a, oops. Oh yeah, we're going through the stages now. I wish you could see this. See how it was creamy? Now we're into an applesauce stage. Yeah, boy, let's get this thing going. It'll go from applesauce to a mashed potato stage, and then a Vaseline stage. When it goes to Vaseline, then you know it's done. So, here we go. It hasn't volcanoed yet like I would like, but it is in the Vaseline, in the mashed potatoes, the applesauce. And it doesn't have to go into the Vaseline stage. It can go, it doesn't have to go to the stage. Oops. You see how it's going through the applesauce? It's kind of cleaned itself off the spoon, because it's not in the creamy stage. See, that's the creamy stage right there, where it looks like cream. So, I've been making soap for off and on for about 4 years. The problem is I would buy these molds and wouldn't be happy with them. They claim to be no liner molds, and anyway, they just wouldn't work out. So see, man, I wish I had a clear bucket. If you're watching this, hon, we need to go to the Chef's Market and get a clear bucket so people can see what's happening here. See here? It's still in the applesauce state. Oh, there we go. There's the volcano. There we had a little volcano reaction. Now the fun begins. If you're watching, hon, after Samuel gets out of school, maybe we can go to the chef's store and get one of those clear buckets, because I don't think Walmart has anything. We can look out there, but come on now, volcano some more. We're not done cooking yet. Show you real quick. See, it's kind of turning into that mashed potato stage right now. And if this is a clear bucket, you can see it a lot better. Yep, see, oh, come on now. We're volcanoing. I wish you could see this, but I don't know. See how it's poofing up like that? That's called a volcano. And see how it's getting real hot and steamy? That's the soap cooking itself. Oops. And it's basically like lava, and you can tell it's kind of turning into that mashed potato look. That's because it's going through the stages. Here we go. let's put the lid back on. Yeah, I remember, oh, it was a few months ago. I went to a buddy of mine's house in Ohio, Columbus. So he's outside of Columbus, Ohio, and he's got 2 kids. And I was like, "You want to learn some chemistry?" They're like, "Yeah," because his son's a real brain. I mean, he's really good in math, and he wants to do stuff in the lines of math and everything. So, and his little stepdaughter, she's, of course, she's just, you know, 9 years old. It was interesting, but anyway, I went out there and made some soap, and it didn't turn out exactly as I had hoped, but they're still using it. I got too much lye in it. Something happened and I miscalculated something, and anyway, it didn't turn out the greatest. Alright, see, I don't think it's done yet. It doesn't seem to have volcanoed enough for my liking. So, see, it's still wanting the volcano, but I'll tell you what hurt is that I didn't let the oils be around 180 to 200 degrees. Along with the, see, it's coming up again. And if you've got a little pot, like one of the other pots I got, yeah, you gotta watch it. You'll be making a mess. And whoever has to clean it up isn't gonna be happy. See, here we go. Volcano. There's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that clear translucent stuff. That's gel. That's actually soap. It's going through the gel stage. So here we go. Technically, this soap would be done by now, doing it the hot process method like this, but because I didn't get the oils hot enough, it is taking longer. It's starting to do that Vaseline stage right now. But here's the molds I'm going to be using. These come from Essential Depot. This batch will fill 2 of these molds right here. And then, where did I put the cutter? Somewhere around here I got the cutter. No? Anyway, I got the cutter, and the cutter will cut 11 of these bars out of this, 1 inch thick, and each one will be the same. So, here we go. Yep, it's going Vaseline stage right now. It's got Vaseline on top, but it's still cooking underneath. But we're getting there. It's got streaks of Vaseline stage. I don't know. Well, that's kind of what the Vaseline stage looks like. It's clear, translucent a little bit. And the thing about these molds, if you're doing just regular cold process, you can actually mix your soap in that, and then you'll be good to go. Now this soap here is going to be unscented. If you haven't been here from the beginning, I'm putting oatmeal, ground up oatmeal, and this is goat milk, honey, and vitamin E, and this is shea butter. See how the motor's changing sounds? That means it's turning more solid. It's going to that Vaseline stage. It's not gonna be as easy to stir with the boat motor here. Yeah, it's a little warm. I don't know. Ooh, where's mine? Oh, here it is. Let's see. Right now, the soap is 197.9 degrees. That says 98.9, but it's hotter now than it was when I put the live water in it. And the oil, and it's hotter now than what the oils were when I put the lye water in. The lye water was probably about 200 degrees. The oils were about 170. But see, another thing about this here, I've got to really watch it. About the goat's milk and especially the goat's milk. The goat's milk will scorch. So you don't want to put that in until it's all done. Until it gets down probably to about 160. It's got to drop about only 30 degrees to be able to put the goat's milk in it. See how it kind of looks Vaseline. See how it kind of looks like glassy Vaseline? That's technically soap. Basically what it's doing right now, it's finishing up cooking, and it's got to cool off enough so we can put the goat milk in it. Now another thing, it depends on your, if you're going to put fragrance in it, and I don't use fragrance, there's enough fragrance stuff on the market. When I do put stuff in, I'll put essential oils because it's natural. Fragrances are made in some lab. Yeah, I call it a boat motor because that's what Emerald Lagasse called them. I got two of them. I got both of them at Walmart. This is a Bella. KitchenAid makes them. In fact, I think my other one's a KitchenAid, but it's over there. And it's just a handheld blender. This has got a 6-inch shaft here. 2 speeds, low and high. This one's Bella. Bella's a pretty good brand. But if you're going to make a lot of soap, you'll be burning these up. This is actually my second or third one. Well, I've got another one in the drawer, but I've had about three of these. Get this, well, pretty much it's done. I don't think it's gonna volcano anymore, but it's awesome when it does. I wish people could see when it does. I'll go get a clear bucket and maybe tonight it'll be more obvious than with this. Well, that's another thing. If you ever make soap, make sure it's in stainless steel. Do not use aluminum. It will not be a pretty sight. It'll make you sick. Aluminum and lye don't get along. You can use cast iron. You can use, we got one of those turkey roasters up there. You can use that if you want to do it that method. Do not use aluminum, ever. Aluminum is bad for us anyway. It's been linked to different kinds of stuff like dementia and other things. Now I'm just kind of getting things mixed up here. This is I don't think I've ever made a 8-pound batch before. I've made a 6-pound. But that was 100% coconut oil soap for laundry soap. So, alright, let's put the lid back on it for a while. Now there's a couple of ways if you're not sure that the lye is totally cooked out of it. If you don't mind the taste of soap, then you can do the zap test. The zap test, basically like a 9-volt battery. If you take a little bit of soap, put it on your tongue, and it kind of feels like a 9-volt battery, that means the soap isn't done. Ooh, it's hot. If it zaps you, that means it's not done. But I think this is done. I just want to get it cooled off before I put my stuff in it. See, we're at 181. And some people will say they don't recommend these. If you keep stirring, they're all right. Some people want the candy thermometers because you can get several different readings. See, we're at 180 degrees. We're still too warm to even if we was going to put fragrance or essential oils in it due to their flash points. All right. Actually, it's not too warm at this point to put the shea butter in it. Now this stuff, this soap that I'm making right now, I'm going to be making some activated charcoal soap and other soaps. These won't be ready to sell till, let's see, today is the 6th of March. So, definitely by the 1st of April, these will be ready. If I can get them all made between now and Monday. And if anybody wants to buy any, all you gotta do, keep watching the Etsy shop I have on Etsy. Just go to Mountain Man Naturals. Keep a watch on there, and you can pre-order if it's available to pre-order, and then my wife will, if I'm going on the road, she'll be the one shipping them out as the orders come in. Or if you're here in town, just email me at the help mountainmannaturals@outlook.com, and I will arrange for home delivery if you're here locally. And because it didn't exactly volcano and cook exactly like I had hoped, this one may take a little longer. Because really all it is you're wanting the more moisture to evaporate. That's why the hot process soap doesn't take as long to be able to ready to use, because you're cooking more of the water out of it. If you do cold process, which you're putting it in the mold a lot quicker than you would if you're doing hot process. Alright, we're still reading 178 degrees. I need it to drop quite a bit more. If this was Facebook, I mean, if it was, it is Facebook. If this was a YouTube video, I'd just pause it and bring you back by the magic of video when it was done, or when it was ready for the next ingredient. But since this is Facebook Live, it's kind of hard to do that. All right, that was our 6.4 ounces of shea butter, organic shea butter. That's this here. Organic shea butter. Very good for the skin. And the reason I'm doing it now, the lye is done. I don't want the shea butter to turn to soap. So the only way it's possible to put that in and not have it affected by the lye is at the very end, when the lye is all done doing its thing. So that is, for this particular 8 pounds, that is 6.4 ounces of shea butter. All right, where's the boat motor? One of these videos, more than likely I'll do a video and put it on YouTube about how to use the soap calc on soapcalc.net. What I do is I don't put, when it says up there in the top, how much super fat you want, percentage of super fat. Super fat is just oil that does not turn into soap. So I put my super fat in at the end, therefore I turn every bit of this oil that I have in there into soap. Back to stirring. See if we can get this temperature brought down so I can go ahead and put this goat milk in there. Yeah, we're coming down to 169. A little bit more. And this has only got a cup. But since it's 8 pounds, I think I'm going to put 2 cups in there. Really, it just acts like natural sand. It's an exfoliant. You can use coffee grounds. Some people, when they make mechanic soap, they'll use actual sand, play sand. or something of that sort. So it just depends on what you want to use. You can use chia seeds, anything finely ground. Of course, you can use pink salt, any sea salt. I've been told don't use dead sea salt. It don't work so well. All right. Let's see what we're at temperature-wise. 166. We're quickly dropping. All right. Get this boat motor going. See, where's my spatula? You want to get all these things in the side. Alright, we're getting closer. See what we're at now. 160. I think that's good enough for me. Now we're going to put in our... Oh wait. Before we do that, I'm going to put in about 2 cups of the oats. I got 2 cups available. I may change my mind once I get the 1 cup in there. How much I put in there so far? It's a little... Well, actually, I did put about 1 cup in there. You see how that looks? It just didn't look like it was going to be enough at first, but looks can be deceiving. Yeah, I think that cup is going to be enough. Alright. Got that in there. The oatmeal portion of our breakfast soap. Now, we're going to put in our goat milk. Goat milk, honey, and vitamin E. The goat milk will make it a little creamier. Of course, honey is a natural antibiotic, and vitamin E is good for the skin as well. So, we're just going to do all kinds of good stuff for the skin. Alright. Where's my... Well, this big spoon wear you out. That's for sure. Get my little spatula here, clean off the sides. Alright. See if I can do that boat motor a little bit more. Get it all good and mixed. As far as this soap being ready to cut, it'll be like tomorrow morning, tomorrow about this time or before. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention. This, because it does have sugar, the honey in it, and of course honey is sugar, the sugar will cause this to get hard faster because, and actually I think it's starting to do that now, because the sugar will heat it up All right, let's put these bad boys in the mold. There's the, I don't know if you can see the molds, but there they are. Plop, plop. Oops. Get this hammered down. Well, my goodness. One thing about it, when you clean up everything, it's already pre-soaked. Don't worry about needing soap. Don't. All right. Number one. Now number two. Wish I had a smaller spoon. I actually do, if it's not dirty. It's dirty. You can really only use metal spoons doing this. Try this bad boy. All right. Well, this is actually making more soap than I thought. Problem is, I only got 4 molds. And it looks like I can fill all 4 molds plus. That's what happens when you get new molds and you gotta figure out how much it takes to fill one. But I made 8 pounds of soap because everybody was saying 4-pound batches for each one. So I was like, okay. Well, that one's full and I got enough for at least 1 or 2 more. Well, I may not be making soap tonight after all. Because these will have to set overnight. Alright. Well, I know one thing. I won't be making 8-pound batches no more. Not unless I have more molds like this. Well, and there's a lot of stuff you can do to be fancy about making your soap. You can do swirls and different colors, but as I've said, I don't want anything unnatural. So I won't be using stuff like micas and other artificial colors. looks like I'll get 3. Which leaves me 1 more. I can do about probably I did 8 pounds and that did 3 molds. So Alright, where's my head there? Get my spoon here. Alright. Yep, it's going to look rustic and homemade, all right, that's for sure. Yeah. It's a little crispy in there. I don't want that in there. All right. Yeah, you can take, of course, we don't have a long teaspoon like thing. But you can take a long teaspoon. You can do it with this too, but you gotta really have a teaspoon. You can turn it several times. All right, that's it. This has 20. This particular soap here has 30% coconut, 30% olive oil, 40% palm oil. According to Soap Calc, the hardness will be 49, the highest range being 54, which would be pretty much a rock. So this isn't going to be too far from it. As far as cleansing goes, it'll be very cleansing at 20%, the highest is 22. Conditioning, it will be on the conditioning side, mainly because of the olive oil and the goat's milk soap that we added. That is, of course, this says the conditioning is at 47, but that does not account for the goat milk soap, so it's probably a little higher than 47. And the highest is 69. So it's going to be, this is going to be mainly a cleansing soap. Creamy. Now the goat's milk definitely added creaminess to it. And right now, before the goat's milk soap, it was at 28. It's probably at about a 30, 32 after the goat milk soap. All right, well, thank you for joining me. And probably in the morning, I will get this soap cut. And you can see the finished product. And we'll let it cure for a couple of weeks.